Hello everyone, this is Group 3, and our report is all about art appreciation, featuring subject, content, and critique. Introduction.
Hi everyone, my name is Mel Wesley Apin and I am here to report the topic about art appreciation. Art appreciation is a powerful tool for understanding the world through the lens of visual expression. It encourages individuals to explore the meanings, emotions, and messages conveyed by artworks, while also fostering critical thinking and cultural awareness in this report, we will examine the key components of art appreciation, studying with the definition of art and the importance of studying it. Understanding art requires an exploration of the fundamental elements and concepts that shape its form and significance. The report is structured into several key areas, beginning with a discussion of the subject in art. We will define and categorize the various types of subject represented in art, such as representational, abstract, and non-representational art. This section also delves into the process of analyzing the subject, where we look at identifying what an artwork depicts, understanding the artist's intention, and considering the historical and cultural context in which the art was created. Following this, the content in art is explored, focusing on the meaning, emotion, or message that the artwork conveys. We will break down the visual elements that contribute to content, such as line, shape, color, and texture. Additionally, we will examine the role of symbolism, iconography, and how various visual components work together to communicate deeper significance. The importance of critique in art appreciation will then be discussed. A structured critique process, which includes careful observation, description, analysis, interpretation, and judgment, is essential for a deeper understanding of artworks. This section emphasizes the role of critic in evaluating an art's success in conveying its intended message, while also highlighting the significance of personal and cultural perspectives in the process. Finally, the report concludes with a summary of key points reinforcing the importance of understanding the subject, content, and critique in art appreciation. It encourages continued exploration of art, fostering a lifelong appreciation for its value in cultural and emotional context. Through this exploration, we aim to deepen our connection to the arts and enhance our ability to engage with, interpret, and appreciation artworks from various perspectives.
So, what is art appreciation? So, art appreciation means understanding the art beyond what we see. So, it helps us to discover the message, emotion, ideas of the artist that want to express their thoughts in their works or in their paintings. It teaches us that every piece of art reflects human experience, history, and culture. Through art appreciation, we learn to think deeply and interpret the meaning using visual symbols. Artists usually use elements like line, color, and shape to communicate their thoughts and feelings. By studying this, we begin to understand not only artwork itself but also the value and experiences of the people who created it or the artist. Um, Appreciation also shows that art is more than just something to look at. It is something to understand, to feel, to connect, and it helps us to see the relationship between art, life, society, and also reminds us of how creativity expresses what words sometimes cannot.
Next is subject and art. Definition of the subject. When we talk about the subject of art, we are talking about what the artwork is all about. Its main theme, topic, or focus. It's what the artist wants us to see or understand when we look at the piece. For example, if an artist paints a person, a landscape, or even an event, those are the subject of the artwork. The subject helps us or guide us to understand the story or message the artist is trying to express. The subject can be a person, an object, a place, a scene, or an event, depending on what the artist wants to show. Some artworks focus on real things we can recognize, while others may show ideas or emotions through abstract forms.
Types of art. Not all subjects look the same. We need to understand that the art exists on a spectrum, stretching from the totally real to the purely conceptual. Representational art. It is an art that depicts recognizable objects or scenes. It means the subject is clear and easily recognized by most people. Examples include most painting, sculptures, literature, graphic arts, and theaters. These are also known as objective arts because you can easily objectify the subject. Abstract art. It is an art that does not represent recognizable objects, focusing instead on shapes, colors, and forms. This is where the artist begins to play with reality. The artist takes a real subject but then distorts or simplifies it. The goal shifts from making a perfect copy to using shapes, colors, and forms to convey a feeling or an idea. Examples include movements like Dadaism and Cubism. One of the examples of Dadaism is the art critic of Raoul Hausmann. The art critic which is shown there. And for the Cubism is Ma Jolie by Pablo Picasso. Next is non-representational art, which is also called non-objective art. It is an art without any reference to the natural world. It is purely conceptual or aesthetic. Here we have completely left the real world behind. These artworks have no resemblance or reference to any real subject or the natural world. They do not represent anything, they are what they are. The subject is the art itself, the lines, shapes, colors, and textures. They appeal directly to the senses due to the satisfying organizations of their elements. This type of abstract art is usually, though not always, geometric and aims to convey a sense of simplicity and purity. Examples generally include music, architecture, and many function arts, though we note that some musical compositions referred to as program music do have a subject. Example of non-representational art shown is Swinging by Wassily Kandinsky and Draped by Jackson Pollock.
Analyzing the subject. Identifying the subject. In this part, we carefully observe and describe what we see in the artwork. We focus on the visible elements like people, objects, places, or actions. The goal is to recognize what is actually being shown and what the artwork seems to be about. So we ask questions such as, what is actually depicted in the artwork? What is the artwork about? By answering these questions, we identify the main subject or focus of the piece. This step is about observation, not interpretation yet. We only describe what we can clearly see before trying to understand its deeper meaning. Understanding the artist's intention. In here, we'll find out why the artist created the artwork and what they are trying to express. Every artwork has a purpose, emotion, or message that the artist wants to communicate to the viewers. We simply ask, what is the artist trying to express to the world? What message or emotion is the artist trying to convey through the subject? How are they conveying the message? So, we interpret the use of color, lines, shape, texture, and mood. These elements help us understanding the artist's feelings or emotions or ideas. For example, bright colors might express happiness or hope, while dark colors could express sadness or fear. This part helps us connect emotionally and intellectually to the artwork. Historical and cultural context. In this step is understanding the background of the artwork, like the time, place, and culture where it was made. Art does not exist on its own. It reflects the society, beliefs, and values of its time. We ask, how does the subject reflect the time and culture in which the artwork was created? By studying the historical and cultural context, we understand how events, traditions, or social issues influence the artist. This gives us a deeper appreciation of the artwork because we see how it connects to real life situations and historical events.
So next is content in art. Definition of the subject. Content in art refers to the meaning, message, or emotion that an artwork communicates. So ang kinitang content in art, mao ni ma-feel na mo audience, mao ni kanang kumbaga ma-convey sa kanang particular nga artwork. So content in art has two subcontents, mao ni ang elements that contribute to content and interpreting content. So ang kining elements that contribute to content nanin siya itulo ka subjects, visual elements, composition and arrangement, o symbolism and iconography. So ari sa ta sa first two, visual elements and composition and arrangement. Sa kining artwork bitaw, visual elements shows line, shape, color, texture, work all together to form an artwork's overall message. So, sa kini nga picture, it is maklaro man nato nga it is composed of lines na siya different kinds of lines na siya baga na siya kanang nipis, different colors, different shades of colors, different textures. So sa kini palamandaan sa kanang texture niya sa lines, sa visual elements palaman sa kini nga artwork is nag-show na siya og unsa ang i-portray sa unsay ganahan i-portray sa kanang artist, like for example tahay kini or what depende sad na nato, like kanang ma-factor in sad ang atong kuan bitaw kanang individuality, like kanang ako lahi kog perspective sa kining artwork, like og interpretation, ikaw lahi sad kag interpretation sa kanang particular nga artwork nana. The composition, which involves balance, harmony, and contrast, organizes visual elements. So tungod sa kadaghan og lines bitaw ani, dili siya samok tan-awon. For me lang dili siya samok tan-awon because kanang arrange kay kanang balance kibali. Balance ang pagkabutang sa lines. Maybe mura siya katag but kuan ra kanang sakto ra iyang pagkabutang, arrange dili po siya ingon arrange kay katag man. Balance ra bitaw ang iyang pagkabutang. Muna ako maingon sa kining artwork. So you need to have composition and arrangement sa visual elements nimo aron matarong nimo convey ang message nga gusto nimo i-portray. So next is symbolism and iconography. So sa kining artwork, sa kining dove nga naay gipalibutan siya og mga dagway ba na mga face. Unsa inyong nakita? Ang akong nakita is akong nakita sa kining artwork is hope and peace. Inana. Like kini bitang symbolism and iconography guys kay siya. Mga symbols bitaw, mga everyday symbols nga atong makita aron tagaan ta og interpretation. For example, sa kini nga dove, maybe ang inyong makita is like calmness or peace, maybe same sad ta peace makitaan, pero mostly ang dove kay nag-symbolizes na as peace bitaw. For example, like the color red symbolizes anang war, madness inana. Ang blue is for kanang peace or white inana. So mao na symbolism and iconography, lahi-lahi the different symbols, different colors symbolizes different kanang meanings or portrays different meanings. Inana. Next is interpreting content. Personal interpretation. Viewers interpret art differently based on their experiences and emotions. Artist's perspective. Knowing the artist's background and intention helps uncover the true meaning of the or narrative behind the artwork. So sa kining artwork, sa kining Mona Lisa nga inyo makita dire, like, di ba nag-smile siya? Maybe ang inyong interpretation sa kanang smile is nag-smile lang yun siya. Then, lahi sad ko, agahong interpretation ana is maybe sarcastic ang iyang smile sa Mona Lisa. Like, overall facial expression niya, nakita na ko nga, sarcastic iya smile. Inana. So, kada tao, lahi-lahi tao interpretation. Personal, natay tagsa-tagsa nga personal interpretation. Muna. So, sa kining artist's perspective is like, kanang perspective sa artist maybe ang si Leonardo da Vinci, ang painter sa Mona Lisa, is ang smile nga iyang gihatag ni sa artwork is koan, maybe sakto mo, smile lang yun siya, dili siya sarcastic, inana bitaw. So through him, si Leonardo da Vinci ra ang maka-uncover sa true meaning, or ang artist ra ang maka-uncover sa true meaning sa iyang artwork.
Critique in art. What does it mean when we say we are critiquing art? By definition, based on our PPT, it is the process of evaluating and interpreting an artwork's value, meaning, and significance. In this section, we will be utilizing social, economical, political, and emotional factors in understanding the underlying meaning of an artwork, as well as talking about the 4 different analysis methods that can be used in critiquing art. What are these 4 approaches to critique? We have the first analysis method called formal analysis. This analysis method focuses on the visual elements and the principles of design, from visual elements such as line, shape, form, texture, to principles of design such as emphasis, balance, and contrast. We use these aspects to create meaning and to create an understanding of the artwork that we are seeing. So knowing that, let's try to analyze the Mona Lisa. So as we know, the Mona Lisa uses soft and balanced colors, creating a natural and calm effect. We know that the Mona Lisa is known for its symmetrical form, balancing out both sides of an artwork. The Mona Lisa is highlighted due to the contrast between the image and the hazy background, creating some sort of highlight and emphasis on the Mona Lisa itself. So through this analysis, we have already created meaning and appreciated the artwork more by understanding its visual components. The second analysis method we have is contextual analysis. In contextual analysis, we examine the cultural, historical, and social background in which the artist or the artwork was created. For contextual analysis, the setting is significantly important. We have to know the environment in where the artist has created the artwork in. Let's try to analyze the School of Athens by the Italian artist Raphael. In this fresco, the School of Athens is depicted. This is a gathering of the brightest minds of the world at the time, from philosophers, theologians, to mathematicians. And at the center, we have Plato and his student Aristotle. Now, both these people or philosophers have different views or different opinions. So we can see Plato pointing to the sky, holding his book Timaeus, and gestures towards the realm of eternal and unchanging ideas, while Aristotle, gesturing to the ground, holds his book of Nicomachean Ethics and indicates the physical world accessible through experience and observation. The last analysis method we have is comparative analysis. In comparative analysis, we focus on comparing the artwork with other works from the same artist. Now, why do we do this? This is important because through comparing with other artworks, we can identify if there are certain connections between different artworks, or we can understand the thought process of the artist from past to present, or even we can see the art style evolution of the artist. Now, a great example of this would be the artworks, or specifically the self-portraits of Pablo Picasso. Now we have here 4 self-portraits by Pablo Picasso, but from different eras of his life. The one on the top left is what he made when he was 15 years old. This is what we'd all agree as something very pleasing to the eye and something more of like a modernist approach, an approach of realism. Then the one on the top right is what he made when he was 25 years old. He begins to simplify his art style, indicating a shift to maturity and a shift to cubism. Now, the two at the bottom, these were what he made when he was 89 and 90 years old. He shifted from the theme of realism, cubism, to a more distorted and abstract approach. This indicated his desire to break free from the conventional approaches that were the norm at the time. And now, through comparative analysis, we clearly see his shift in style and the shift of inner meaning that he wants to convey. The third analysis method we have is interpretive analysis. In interpretive analysis, we focus on understanding the symbolic, emotional, or conceptual meaning of the artwork. So we aim to understand what the artist is trying to convey through their artwork. We try to understand the emotions or what he was trying to emphasize at that time. So let's try to once again analyze an artwork. But this time, let's try to analyze the Guernica by Pablo Picasso. So, this artwork was made as a call against violence. But how was that derived from his artwork? Picasso's Guernica powerfully depicts of the brutality of war through the sharp, distorted figures and the fragmented art style. The black and white theme emphasizes the despair, while the elements like the screaming mother, the broken sword, emphasizes the distraught, the suffering, and the destruction that war has brought.
Here we arrive at C. Steps in conducting a critique. Here we are using an example. The famous masterpiece named Starry Night, painted by the infamous Vincent van Gogh. Observation. Examining the artwork and paying attention to visual elements. The painting shows a night sky filled with swirling clouds, bright stars, and a glowing crescent moon. Below the sky is a quiet village with small houses and a tall church steeple. On the left side, dark cypress tree stretches upward, reaching into the sky. The brush strokes are thick and visible, giving the painting a textured look. The colors are mainly blue and yellow, with some black and white tones. Description: providing a clear and objective explanation, essentially describing the elements and structure of the artwork without personal interpretation. The Starry Night captures a view from Van Gogh's asylum room window in Saint-Remy de Provence. The artist painted the scene from memory, infusing it with emotion rather than accuracy. The swirling skies dominates the composition and creates a sense of motion. Analysis: a deeper analysis of the components of the artwork to understand and create meaning. Van Gogh uses the elements of art, particularly color, line, and texture, to show emotion. The cool blues contrast with the warm yellows of the stars and moon, creating visual balance. The swirling lines guide the viewer's eyes around the canvas, while the thick and pastel texture adds depth and movement. The principle of rhythm is evident in the repeating circular patterns of the sky. Interpretation, where understanding the meanings, intentions, and messages of the artwork occur. The painting expressed Van Gogh's emotional state. The turbulence in the sky could reflect his inner struggles, while the peaceful village might symbolize calmness and stability that he longed for. The stars may represent hope or spiritual enlightenment. Judgment. It involves the personal opinion of the individual in deciding whether the artwork is effective in expressing the message it wants to convey. The Starry Night is a masterpiece because it invokes the deep emotion through expressive technique. The dynamic movement, bold use of color, and personal symbolism make it a timeless and universally admired work of art. It succeeds in making the viewer feel rather than just see the night sky. Here we at D, the importance of critique in art appreciation. Critiquing art encourages a deeper understanding and engagement with artworks. It allows viewers to fully appreciate the visual aspects and the context behind the artwork. Critique also emphasizes critical thinking, helping the audience appreciate the creativity and cultural significance of the artwork.
Good day everyone, I am Lazarte. As we reach the conclusion of our presentation on art appreciation, let's reflect on what we've learned. Art appreciation help us grow culturally, emotionally, and intellectually. It teaches us to understand visual symbols and the social or historical context behind them. This process sharpens our creativity, critical thinking, and self-reflection, while also improving the academic and emotional well-being. We also recognize that our interpretation of art is deeply personal. Our experience, emotion, and cultural backgrounds influence how we understand a piece of work. This diverse perspective make art more meaningful, allowing many valid interpretations to coexist. And lastly, art appreciation is a lifelong journey of discovery. As we explore different types of art, historical eras, and cultural expressions, we build empathy, imagination, and awareness of the world around us. In short, art is not only something to study, it's something to live. It connects us to humanity and help us see beauty and meaning in everyday life. That's all. Thank you.